Welcome to Gunsite Training Center. The topic of this film is the development and the usage of the tactical or police shotgun in the role of personal self-defense. The tactical shotgun can be a very important tool in the development of personal self-defense because it is one of the most powerful tools an individual can wield. It has a variety of uses, and because of the spectrum of ammunition available, it can be acted out to ranges of 100 meters or more. The shotgun is ubiquitous. It is one of the most commonly found firearms because of all the sporting uses associated with shotguns. The legal restrictions and the registration associated with handguns or rifles are not generally encountered with shotguns. Basically, shotguns are powerful, versatile, easy to use, easy to obtain, and this is why we generally recommend a shotgun as a primary tool of self-defense in the home or the urban environment. Before we look at how the tactical shotgun is used, perhaps we should go over to the Gunsite Custom Shop and look at some of the equipment that can make any shotgun a more effective tactical shotgun.
We're going to talk about several of the different models of combat shotgun and the modifications that are applied to these. One of the things that we feel is the most important addition to a combat shotgun is, of course, a good set of ghost ring sights. The ghost ring sight consists of a solid post front sight, which is permanently attached to the barrel. We use the silver solder method of attaching that makes the sight virtually a part of the barrel. It is not going to come off under any circumstances. It can't be knocked or dinged sideways on the shotgun. Some sights you'll find are glued onto a shotgun barrel. We find that this is entirely a temporary modification, and they are prone to coming off the gun. The rear sight should be an all steel, all machined ghost ring with a wide aperture and the widest range of adjustment possible. This is the Wickert sight that's manufactured in Prescott, Arizona and marketed through Gunsite. And an alternate sight is the new MMC sight. This is an all steel sight. It's all machined, it's fully adjustable, and offers a wide range of applications for different shotgun receivers. Also comes with its own type of front sight. Very heavy duty, very robust, and once it's installed, becomes part of the gun. Another thing that we find to be important on a shotgun is the capability to carry ammunition on the gun, not necessarily in the gun via extended magazine tubes. One of the problems with extended magazine tubes is the fact that they require a clamp to secure them. Otherwise, they'll turn out of the gun. The clamp that secures them can cause a shift in impact every single time it's reapplied to the shotgun. By not using an extended magazine tube, we find that the ability to carry ammunition on the gun and to keep the shotgun loaded during operation is enhanced. Also enhanced is the reliability from not having to use a spring that's overly long. Carrying extra ammunition on the firearm is important, and there are several ways to accomplish this. One way is to install the leather or nylon butt cuff. This is a 5-round carrier. Holds 5 rounds securely, fastened to the buttstock. This particular model is made by Galco. They're also manufactured by Bruce Nelson Custom Leather and Milt Sparks Leather. The one on the side of the receiver is called the side saddle. This is marketed and manufactured by Tacstar Industries. Features polymer loops that hold the shells securely during any sort of activity with the shotgun, yet afford easy access for constant loading. Since the ability to identify a target is critical, the use of a tactical light system is also very important on the defensive shotgun. This light system is manufactured by Laser Products Corporation, features constant on-off and an instant on-off pressure switch. The controls for the light switch fall readily to hand during operation, the constant under the thumb, the intermittent underneath the fingers of the support hand. The constant on-off switch allows a constant illumination, where the intermittent switch allows illumination at the time desired. We find there are several methods of recoil reduction available on the market. The best method of recoil reduction is always going to be a good quality recoil pad. Several pads available are very soft and tend to grab clothing when the shotgun is mounted. We find the Pachmayr decelerator pad to be an excellent model. We also use the air recoil model from Arts Products. It's a ventilated pad that features good recoil absorption with a little bit of stiffness that helps to allow the pad to slide more easily. This shotgun's been modified to accept the H&K style sling. Ring mount at the front, ring mount at the rear. That provides for maximum flexibility and use of the sling. This sling can also be used in the SAS style, similar to a submachine gun sling. The most prevalent type of sling system found on shotguns, especially on the pump models, is the simple carry strap. Should be a solid piece of nylon, should be quickly adjustable for length, and this facilitates simple carry of the shotgun. Performance barrel modifications are another thing that's critical on a combat shotgun. One of the most common is the addition of choke tubes. Choke tubes work out just fine usually until they're fed a steady diet of slugs and buckshot. At that point, they become another temporary modification, and they have a tendency to go downrange with the shot charge. There are several permanent modifications that have been introduced over the years to increase performance of a combat shotgun barrel. The first and probably the most common is the jug choke system. Jug choking involved removing a short section of the bore of the shotgun barrel to enlarge it. As the shot charge progressed through the bore, it expanded into this zone, traveled parallel for a short space, and then was constricted before exiting the muzzle. The problem with this system is it's very labor and time intensive. It's not as consistent as we'd like to get it. And it also creates a thin spot and a pressure point in the barrel that can cause a barrel failure. Newly introduced is the Vang system. This is a patented design by Hans Vang that allows for a gentle taper from the chamber to within an inch or an inch and a quarter of the muzzle of the shotgun that eliminates the forcing cone, provides for a gentle constriction which keeps shot deformation down to virtually nil and allows for an exceptional degree of patterning with buckshot. Now that we've explained some of the modifications to the combat shotgun, let's go to the range and see how they affect the actual use of the shotgun.
Rules for firearms handling safety vary from nothing at all to something the size of a telephone book. To avoid confusion, we have simplified things down to 4. Now, these are not range safety rules. These are firearms safety rules, and they're not the same thing. These rules apply anywhere you go, every day, for the rest of your life, anytime that you handle deadly weapons. To keep it simple, we've limited down to 4, and they go as follows. Rule number 1 is that every gun is always loaded. Now, notice that we don't say act like a gun is loaded or treat the gun as if it was loaded. Every gun is always loaded. There are only 2 exceptions to this. You never take anyone else's information with regard to the condition of a firearm. If someone who's an expert hands you one, you're still responsible. The weapon is loaded until you personally unload it or until you personally check the weapon and see that it's unloaded. If I pick this up and can't see, I'm going to open the action, visually and physically check, and see that the weapon is not loaded. I have now rendered this weapon safe for the purpose of this morning's activities. Rule number 2, never let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. Think about that word. Firearms can destroy people who are standing in front of them. If you make a mistake, you will be responsible for that. This rule is violated continuously, particularly with handguns, because they're small and portable. You must develop an awareness of the muzzle of that weapon. That's where someone will get hurt. Never let the muzzle cover anything you are not willing to destroy. If we could condense all the rules down to one, the one we would probably pick is Rule 3, which we refer to as the golden rule. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. Notice we don't say until you're ready to shoot or until you're prepared to shoot. It's not the same thing. If you hear a noise and footsteps in your home at 3 in the morning and you hear someone approaching your bedroom and you're standing with your back in the corner and you've called 911 and your pistol's in your hand, are you ready to shoot? You better be, because you might have to very shortly. But do you have a target? No. Does your finger belong on the trigger? No. You have ample time with the training that we give out here, once you've assessed a threat, to bring the weapon alignment on the target, get your finger on the trigger, and place your shot carefully. Keep your finger off the trigger until your sights are on the target. Rule 4 is always be sure of your target. Now that encompasses many things. Obviously you have to know what it is that you're shooting at, because you'll be held accountable for that decision. But you also need to know what is beyond your target, what barrier material you might penetrate. You need to understand the operational capabilities of your ammunition and your firearm. Where is that round going to stop? You also have to be aware of anything that may intervene between you and that target in the time it takes you to recognize the threat and decide to make a shot. All these things are part of Rule 4. Always be sure of your target. All right. We have a system, a reloading, unloading drill. This is for the Remington 870 shotgun I'm holding. If you have a system that works, that's fine. If you don't, we have a system that we have found that works, and we'll share it with you. You have 2 methods of putting ammunition into this weapon. If the weapon has been shot dry, or if you're loading it administratively and want a round in the chamber, it's easy to port load. All you have to do is place the round in the chamber and run the action forward. You're now ready to go. The safety should be engaged. From this point on, you load through the magazine. Succeeding rounds are trayed in the hand, business in toward the index finger, brass in toward the little finger. This eliminates the problem of loading the way people typically do, taking a vertically oriented object and trying to insert it into a horizontally oriented tube. What we do is tray the round between the pinky and the index finger. We can keep our eyes up on target on our tactical situation, checking our environment. We follow the trigger guard forward. As you do so, the round will push the loading tray up out of the way. I roll my thumb back and insert the round fully into the magazine. We do this for every succeeding round until we have fully loaded the magazine to our needs and specifications. Downloading is accomplished in the opposite direction. We want to clear the chamber first. Again, with the weapon on safety, I'm going to place 2 fingers behind the forend, release the action, and draw it back until I can feel the front of the receiver. At this point, I'm going to slow down the movement of the slide going to the rear, and as soon as that first round in the chamber clears, I'm going to lift it off the front of the bolt. This accomplishes 2 things. It stops the action from dropping another round onto the tray, and it allows me to lift this round off the extractor rather than having to run succeeding rounds through the chamber and dump them out on the ground, as I've seen done many times as an administrative unloading situation. Each time that you do that, you create the situation where a potential negligent discharge could occur, and it causes damage to the shells. Having accomplished this much, I can now push the shell carrier up and finish running the slide to the rear. That will dump the next round in the magazine out into my hand. That round goes back into the carrier. From this point on, I reach into the bottom through the loading port and push the shell holder to the side, and that will release succeeding rounds one at a time until I've downloaded the magazine. Again, we check physically and visually, make sure the weapon's on safe, and the weapon's now unloaded.
For the shotgunners, the importance of patterning the barrel, it just goes beyond saying that's the most important thing you could possibly do if you own a shotgun. Second only to fitting the shotgun to you is knowing your shotgun barrel, knowing what you can and you cannot do with your particular weapon, knowing what you can and can't do with the particular ammunition that you've chosen to use in your shotgun. Today we're going to do some patterning here at Gunsite, and we're going to give you some added information on how to properly pattern your shotgun and how to properly select the ammunition that is best suited for the job at hand that you need to do. First off, we're going to shoot a cylinder bore shotgun to give you some added emphasis on what a particular cylinder bore shotgun will do with federal tack. Invert the muzzle and put your right arm.
And anyone who is a serious student of this